Hello and welcome to Annalytic Talk. I'm Anna. Just within days of each other, two world leaders arrived in Beijing. First, U.S. President Donald Trump, at a moment when China and the United States are once again trying to stabilize one of the world's most consequential relationships. Then came Russian President Vladimir Putin, marking his 25th visit to China after more than 40 meetings with President Xi Jinping. And looking at these two visits together, you get a strong sense of where the world is today. On one side, China is managing an increasingly complex relationship with the United States, a relationship defined by competition, cooperation, distrust, and deep interdependence all at once. On the other side, China and Russia continue to deepen strategic coordination amid ongoing geopolitical tensions and a rapidly changing international landscape. At the center of both conversations is the same question: how should the world understand China today? Because what's striking is not just that views on China differ, it's that the gap in perception is growing wider. In much of the Western political and media discourse, China is increasingly described through the language of rivalry, security threats, and systemic competition. But across large parts of the developing world, China is often viewed very differently: as a source of stability, a trading partner, an investor, a mediator, or simply as a country offering alternatives in a changing world. So why does this gap exist? Why does the China described in many Western narratives often feel so different from the China experienced by much of the rest of the world? Is the West reacting to what China does, or struggling with what China represents, a major power that developed outside the Western political model? As global tensions intensify and the international order undergoes profound changes, another question becomes increasingly important too. How does China actually see itself? What kind of major power does China believe it wants to become? In this episode of Annalytic Talk, we discuss all of this with Colonel Zhou, Senior Fellow at Tsinghua University's Center for International Security and Strategy.